y'all. Finally, right? I kept putting it off, but I'm here now. Hey, welcome. The Alan Warren, all right. Much love. Hey. It's time to get the thunder going. Oh, it's thunder time. It's thunder time. Yes, it's thunder time. Okay? It's thunder times. But first, before we go through, shout out to everybody in the chat, everybody tuning in. You know, it's Friday. Oh, I was supposed to do this build like 3 days ago, but I was so exhausted from working on other projects and other things that all I could do was lay in the bed. But I'm all energized up. I'm ready. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Copper, Lady Virgo, Elise, D. Allen Warren. Yes, you've been a member for 45 months. That's so much love. Oh, shout out to all my subscribers and members of my channel. I really appreciate y'all so much. You just don't know. I'm doing so much, and you really listen. I have a full-time job. We have a tribe. We have a newspaper, and I have my YouTube partnership. So I'm like completely I was burnt out, and literally, y'all know that I don't put up live segments and then don't show up. I kept switching it to the next day, but I had to get my body caught up. I did. I had to get my body caught up. So what I'm going to do is first I got to get the thunder going. It's thunder time. You know, we get these old haters that hung out in the 90s, you know, and they're your haters, you know. Like I said, a lot of my subscribers are my haters, a lot of them. And this is how you know, even your haters watch your segments and they're mad. They're mad because they're Pan-African and they can't prove that they're African. And it's the sad part. It's real funny. So Chaotic Truth, he, you know, is African. It's obvious because his life consists of just down talking American Indians like myself, people that look like me and men that look like me that are from this mainland. So he picks to talk about us Americans, right? Then he throws on a Trump hat because I'm a Trump supporter. He better hope that he don't get swooped in with the Somalians and sent back to Africa because Trump is on a rampage right now. He ain't playing. He is not playing. Trump is not playing. But we're not going to get into Trump today. But he's not playing. He is exporting. Exporting, deporting, however you want to call it. And I'm so happy. And I'm also, I'm going to talk on my next live about him removing himself from United Nations, supporting that African American. Let me give Trump a round of applause. Oh my goodness. That was one of the best things that the Trump administration has done, was remove United States from supporting this African American stuff in United Nations. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you, Trump. I was waiting for them to do that. So now all these Pan-Africans know that they're not getting reparations or restitutions. You're not getting anything with our tax dollars. Trump just proved that to you. So you're not getting nothing. Nothing. It's dead. It's gone. You're not getting nothing. He removed himself, United States, from the United Nations supporting this African American stuff. No more money going over to Africa. No more this African American need reparations for slavery. Because first of all, like I said, and you African people claiming to be African Americans, and this is not no racist thing. This is just true shit. Claiming to be African Americans, claiming that white men, mean white men, went to another damn continent, dragged your butts here on slave ships, okay, and made you slaves. That's the biggest lie in history. Stop. Okay. Now, did slavery happen? Yes. Did slavery come to the Americas? Yes. But they went to Brazil and Portugal, not here. Okay. They went to other parts of America because Indians that look like me was not having it. Our chiefs, they were not allowed to bring Africans in here like that. Seriously. So stop. So thank you again, Trump administration. Make America great again. And that's how you do it. Removing things like the African American whatever from the United Nations, from the United States supporting it. Thank you again, Trump administration. Let's get it, Trump. You Pan-Africans, your wish for retribution or reparations for being descendants of slaves. If you are descendants of slaves, you need to go to Britain, okay? Because they're the one who so-called brought all these slaves to America. Go to Britain and ask the Queen's grandsons. Ask them to give you the money because United States was formed in 1776, okay? Difference. United States was not formed by colonizers from Britain. I mean, well, the first ones that came here on the Plymouth Rock. Sorry. So stop. So don't blame what the British did to you on the United States. Back up. Trump already said it. Back the you know what up. You're not getting anything. And this goes to you too, Chaotic Truth and Taz. I couldn't figure out what this dude name was, but he's a Pan-African and he's bitter because Trump's now not your HR 40 little thing that was set up by that Whig party lady. What is her name? Maxine Waters and all them, and Sheila, whatever her name is. You're not getting anything. It's dead. It's Pan-Africanism is dead. Bye. So again, another round of applause for our president who pulled it out. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad he did. I am. Truly am. But anyway, let's listen to this video that was made by this bitter Pan-African who has a channel, right? His name is Taz, I guess, something like that. I couldn't think who he was. But I knew the voice. And he has this channel that went downhill, bonk, 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 because it consists of a bunch of brown women that look like me that sit up and they're bitter and they're probably low self-esteem. And I call it the man. It's his channel turned into the man bashing channel. All they do is downgrade dudes that left them, don't want to be with them. They were like probably side chicks or I don't know, side queens, and they got tired. So now they're bitter about it. So let's just listen to what he had to say about the Aboriginal community, us Indians. And let's just listen. He's talking about the Aboriginal community and debating. First of all, I don't do debates. I don't debate. I lecture. You got me all messed up, bro. Taz, you got me all messed up. I don't debate. I lecture and teach history. The person who handles the debate in the Aboriginal community is Aboriginal power. So here's the funny thing, guys. He's talking about addressing our community, saying that they won't let him up on the panel. You're welcome to come up on my panel when I put the link in the chat. You're welcome to come up on my panel. I don't bite and I don't mistreat people on panels when they come on my panels. But pay attention to this video. He's talking about not being able to get on our panels and speak and debate, but I don't hold the debates. That's BAP. That's Aboriginal power who handles all the debating in the Aboriginal community. I don't do that. I support his channel, but I'm not the debater. He handles the scheduling of all debates. So let's just listen with this little troll. That's what I'm calling him now, because at this point he's a fan, and I hope you give me a shout out in the chat room because I know you watching. But anyway, let's dissect, because I put Chaotic Truth in his place because I'm tired of him misjudging our community. Then he misjudged me. This guy doesn't know anything about me or my life. And he put me in a category as a woman without education, probably on welfare and all this other stuff. So let's just listen to these clowns, okay? And two clowns, that's what I call them. Clowns looking for clout. I don't got to do that. But let's get it. Let me get into it because it's funny. So here we go, y'all.
You know, it's easy to get on here, say you're an Aboriginal, an Indian, talk down on Black people, come for Africa, speaking on the tethers. But like at the end of the day, I feel like these folks don't like none of us, right? You can say it's about tethers and this and that, but I don't agree because as soon as they get mad when you disagree with them, they just label you a tether. And I'm saying people have been on this platform changing who they are and identifying who they are for years. And so some of us could care less about y'all pretending desires. The problem don't come in.
Y'all notice that he's just flashing my pictures? I'm like, dude, are you obsessed with my channel? We got Ab Power. You see, he know who Aboriginal Power is. Obviously, do because he got him up here. The brother in the top far right on the top. If you want to debate somebody, contact him directly. He would be happy to put you in the debate. He would love when Pan Africans come. And then the one down on the bottom, the Chaotic Truth, definitely African because American men that look like me and from my community, our hairlines do not go nearly to the middle of our foreheads. That is a hereditary thing that happens in Africa. But let's keep listening, y'all. That hairline is way back. American men on the mainland's hairlines are not like that. That's how you know the difference between American people with brown skin who are American Indians and Africans. We do not have their features. I have no features like the man on the right. He is African. I am American Indian. And we do not share the same features. Just like Chinese people, Japanese people, Vietnamese, they're all different. We are not the same as these Africans. But let's get it.
Until y'all start thinking you can diss Black. And then you want to diss Black from a distance. None of these folks don't ever want to do it when I arrive on the scene. It's kind of odd. I can't get on the panel. I can't get a debate. None of that. But it seems they'll debate, discuss, argue these points with any other person. It's kind of weird. But then I got to look at it. I got to deal with the fact that it is me saying it. And I know don't none of these dumb abos want no smoke. And I got to leave it at that. So when I see videos of Sister Bethy and Chaotic Truth, it's like a simple reminder. The more anti-Black you are, the easier it is for you to grow. These are people that I've seen in the space for years. And grifting don't hurt your platform. Moving in directions that only financially benefit you seem to work. Because intellectual benefit has gone out the window. Chaotic Truth don't care nothing about that. Bethy don't care about that. The platforms they represent and the people that be around them don't care about nothing like that. So, I mean, we got to keep it real at some point. All these Black people on this social media app are working against Black people. And look, every now and then I go into one of these Indian Aboriginal spaces and they hashtagging B1. They talking about B1 like, fam, I just wish I can get some debate smoke with some of these people. They are not B1. They don't have a standard. It's just using that name because you can. So for me, it becomes how do we deal with this? Is there a way to deal with this? And the only thing I can think of is the people who see it need to call it out. And when you got a lot of people running from black now, a lot of people don't want to be black. And so they're not requiring the people telling them this nonsense to actually be able to prove it.
Drop the link for them to come on.
I'm gonna say this first of all. Am I? Can y'all hear me? Okay. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
First of all, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna correct you. First of all, I'm 59 years old. I'm a fine motherfucker. Because you ain't even know. I'm 59. And you look my age. I look good. You look my age. And I look good. I'm 59. And yes, it is unbelievable. Because look at my skin. No makeup. No makeup. I'm fine. So you can't take that away from me because I'm conceited. When I'm looking like this, about to hit 60 this year, I'm a good looking ass woman. Vivica Fox and all them, they got Botox. No, this is my real shit. No makeup. Secondly, you told me that I didn't work with youth. I've been working with youth, troubled youth all my life. And I don't have credentials. Excuse me. I have an MSW. I diagnose. I can diagnose people. I have an MSW, baby. And I'm not finished. My shit is legal studies. I have a degree in legal studies. I'm this far away from taking a bar. I have a degree in legal studies and a degree in criminal justice. So I'm educated. Don't judge me because I look sexy. I got brains. That's something a nigga like you could never take from me. So don't talk down on me. So when them bitches come over from Africa, none of them are on my level.
Try to watch your language, the ladies, please.
None of them are on my level. So you got that. Yeah, and my shit did not come from no online shit. I went to real universities, UConn and University of Harvard. And I graduated cum laude because I'm a smart motherfucker.
And you wasn't pushed, right, Bethy?
Secondly, I've been working all my life. I never qualified for food stamps or welfare, ever. Now, when I was little, hell yeah, we had food stamps. I was proud to get me a little dollar food stamp to go get me a motherfucking bag of cheese doodles and a honey bun.
Yeah, see, people saying and doing the most. And look, fam, I ain't on here to make people feel bad or diminish them or any of that. But how much of that do you get to do to other people before people can do it to you? Bethy does not mind talking down to you as long as you're not a pretendian, right? You have to join their cult. You have to be part of what they pushing for them to respect you. And I don't think we have to do that. I don't think we got to kiss nobody's behind to be respected. But these pretendians think that they can just go from platform to platform and call black people names. And that's not going to continue to work. Now, somebody like Chaotic Truth, you can argue and joke and play with him. But all of us are not built the same. And they know that, though, for real.
But I never experienced welfare in my work life. As a young, even when I had my daughter, she didn't know what welfare was. And guess what? My baby, she's 33. 33. And I raised a warrior. And I have twin grandsons, and I still look good. So don't put me down because you don't know me. This is what I'm talking about. You trying to judge me, thinking I don't have credentials. I work with severe troubled youth. Youth who situations that is so horrendous. I can't speak about it because it's confidential. But I work with youth all my life, and I still do. So when you come to me, you step to me correct, boy.
Bethy, I never.
But anyway, that's the that was the gist of it. I'm not going to give him too much fame because obviously this guy that made this video, Taz, okay, he's angry because he's one of the angry ones because Trump took United States out of that UN to support some African American reparations or African American whatever. And I'm glad he did it. He's mad about it. Secondly, I don't go from platform to platform. So I don't even know what he's talking about. The platforms that I visit often it's not that many. I'm usually over here. I go to BAP, I go to Chief Holiday, I go to Smoke. That's it. I don't go nowhere else. Or a Dane. And I go to Dane. That's it. And literally that's it. And they're mad because I have an audience and they don't. His channel failed. Not my fault. Change your perspective. Be who you really are. Okay? You can't prove that you're African American. So admit the fact that you're American Indian and your country was conquered. And it was conquered with the help of our ancestors. And I'm glad because I rock the American flag. Honey, the American flag is my flag. I'm an American and I'm proud to be an American. And I will say that until I drop. My family served in every war that the United States had. And they're Indians. Yes, they were not labeled Africans. They were labeled colored. Our ancestors were reclassified. I already went through all that. I even have the information from the Department of War, which Trump changed the name back to Department of War, of my family, okay, fighting in the Revolutionary War. And no, I'm not talking about being just cooks. No, they literally fought and helped the United States gain their independence from Britain. And I'm proud to have that. So I will always stand on America. America is my country. And I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Facts. So give me 60 seconds, y'all, and we're going to get into today's segment. Who is an American? Okay? So give me 60 seconds. Take a sip of water because I have slides. And this information that I pulled regarding who is an American, I pulled it from all these different federal university, all these different sources. And it is what it is. So give me 60 seconds and we're going to get into the lecture. Okay, thank you for those few seconds. I just wanted to get things started. So let's get it. Who is an American? So I found this and I thought it was pretty interesting. The bottom row, pre-Columbian, the Indians here on the mainland here. Now we know we have Indians in North, Central, South America, the surrounding islands. That is true, but I'm speaking just in the boundaries of the United States where my ancestors originated from for thousands and thousands of years. We were here, pre-Columbian, okay? 1830 Indian Removal Act. Indians from the East, they went in the Indian Removal Act. And then from being reclassified so many times, 2025, unrecognized indigenous Indians. Facts. It is what it is. And I'm still proud because I know who I is. And a lot of our people are coming around, fixing their identities, being who they are. So who is an American? See, I was supposed to do this 3 days ago, y'all. So federal law regarding American versus citizenship. Federal law defines who is a United States citizen. but there is no federal statute law that defines the word American as an identity or a people. Interesting, y'all. Federal law only defines citizenship, not cultural, racial, or ancestral identity. The controlling laws are the 14th Amendment and Title 8 of the United States Code, Section 1401, which lists who is a United States citizen at birth. What federal law defines? Federal law defines citizenship, not American as a people. A, 14th Amendment Constitution. Anyone born in the United States and subject to its jurisdiction is a U.S. citizen. What federal law does define? B, Title 8, United States Code, Section 1401, Immigration and Nationality Act. This statute lists all categories of people who are U.S. citizens at birth, including people born in the United States, people born in the United States to members of Indian, Eskimo, Aleutian, or other Aboriginal tribes, people born abroad to U.S. citizen parents, foundlings, certain territorial birthrights, etc. This law defines citizenship, not American, as an ethnic or racial category. What federal law does not define? There is no federal law that defines who is an American by ancestry, who is an American by race, who is an American by indigenous identity, who is an American by cultural or historical. The United States government does not define American as a people, only citizen or national. This is why American Indian is a political legal category only in certain contexts. Tribal citizenship is defined by tribes, not federal law. The United States cannot tell you who your ancestors are. The term American historically shifted meanings over time. Why this matters? Because the United States only defines citizenship, not identity. The federal government cannot redefine your ancestry. They cannot redefine your people. They cannot redefine who is indigenous. They cannot redefine who is American in the historical sense. This is why our research into the historical meaning of American pre-1900s stands on its own. It's outside the scope of federal statutory definitions. Y'all pay attention. How the term American shifted from meaning indigenous peoples to meaning U.S. citizens. Pay attention, babies. In early European writings, American referred to the indigenous peoples of the Americas, not Europeans. I'm going to read that again. How the term American shifted from meaning indigenous peoples to meaning United States citizens. A, original meaning, 1500s to the 1700s. American equals indigenous people. Okay? In early European writings, American referred to the indigenous people of the Americas, not Europeans. This is supported by Britannica's explanation that European used Indian and American Indian to describe indigenous people because they believed they had reached Asia. They thought they reached Asia. How the term American, and we're going to keep going, B, 1700s, early 1800s. Europeans in the colonies began calling themselves American. As European settlers were born in the colonies, they began calling themselves British Americans, French Americans, American colonists. This was a political identity, not an ethnic one. C, post-revolution, late 1700s, 1800s, American becomes tied to the new nation. After independence, the new government needed a national identity. Talking about after the Revolutionary War, they needed a new identity. American shifted from meaning indigenous people to meaning citizens of the United States, specifically white European descendants. Indigenous people were still called Indians, tribes, or nations, as shown in the Sandford Law Review analysis of constitutional language. D, 19th, 20th century, 20 to the 20th century. American becomes synonymous with U.S. citizen. By the 1800s, American equal white U.S. citizen. Indigenous people equal Indians, tribes, wards, or minorities. This shift was reinforced by assimilation policies, boarding schools, and forced cultural erasure. Bottom line, the United States government never defined American in law. The meaning changed through political power, not statute. Who actually changed the meaning? A, colonial and early state governments. From the 1600s to the 1800s, they controlled censuses, voting rights, land ownership, and legal classifications. These governments began using American to refer to European settlers, not indigenous people. This was not done by statute. It was done through court decisions, census forms, state constitutions, political speeches, newspapers. The meaning shifted because the people with authority used the word differently, and their usage became the norm. B, publishers and dictionaries, especially Noah Webster. Webster's 1828 dictionary is a perfect example. He redefined American as a person born in the United States, especially of European descent. He did this without consulting indigenous nations. No law required him to do it, but his dictionary shaped national identity. This is political power through culture, not law. It was a dictionary. C, the United States Census Bureau. The census created and enforced racial categories long before federal law standardized them. Early census used white, slave, free colored, Indian, but only in certain contexts. They never used American as a racial or national category. By classifying people this way, the census erased the original meaning of American and replaced it with racial categories. Again, no statute, just administrative power. So, was it executive orders or state leaders who changed the meaning? Not executive orders. No president ever issued an order redefining American. Yes, state leaders, courts, census officials, and publishers. They shape the meaning through political usage, legal decisions, census categories, dictionaries, newspapers, education systems. This is what political power means: the power to define reality without passing law. Are you guys listening? I didn't write this. I'm just lecturing what's out there. Why this matters for our research? Because it shows the meaning of American was taken, not legislated. Indigenous identity was reclassified, not legally redefined. The shift was cultural and political, not statutory. The United States avoided defining American because doing so would expose the original meaning. This is why our question is so sharp. Our tracing the difference between legal categories and political identity construction. Trump regarding birthright citizenship. Y'all, let's get it, y'all. Throw up some fire in that chat if y'all paying attention. So I'm going to go to my boy Trump. Shout out to Trump. President Donald Trump's attempt to change birthright citizenship was done by Executive Order 14160, not by Congress. It is not in effect because multiple federal judges have blocked it nationwide. The 14th Amendment still controls, meaning anyone born in the United States and subject to its jurisdiction is a U.S. citizen. It was not passed by Congress. It was done through Executive Order 14160, signed on January 20th, 2025. That's literally a year ago. Trump regarding birthright citizenship. Congress is considering a separate bill called the Exclusive Citizenship Act of 2025. But that bill is not law and has not passed Congress. So there are two different things. Executive 14160, birthright citizenship, which is Trump. That's an executive order. And the status of that right now is blocked by courts. And then the Executive Citizenship Act of 2025, which bans dual citizenship. And that's a congressional bill. It's not passed yet, though. So the Supreme Court has taken the case. They took Trump's case. On December 5th, 2025, the Supreme Court formally agreed to decide whether President Trump's executive order ending automatic birthright citizenship is constitutional. This means the case is officially before the court. So the Supreme Court justices is getting ready, is looking at this. It's going to be interesting. Section 1. Now, the 14th Amendment. Let's read the 14th Amendment, which states, Section 1, the 14th Amendment, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of laws. So we read the 14th Amendment. So now, Trump's argument in executive order. 14-160. This is Trump's argument. Number one, and I really think they're going to do something about Trump's order because it makes sense. Trump's executive order rests on one interpretation of the phrase, subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That's in principle, in quotes, subject to the jurisdiction thereof. This is the hinge. The 14th Amendment says Trump argues that his phrase excludes certain U.S. born children. And his reasoning, if a child's mother is undocumented or on a temporary visa, and the father is not a citizen or green card holder, then the child is not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. This is the foundation of the entire order, Trump's executive order. So let's keep going. Number two, Trump claims the 14th Amendment has never been interpreted to extend citizenship universally. I'm going to read that again because he got some really great argument here and is very powerful. Trump claims the 14th Amendment has never been interpreted to extend citizenship universally. And I believe that to be true. What are your thoughts on that? I believe that to be true. The 14th Amendment has never been interpreted to extend citizenship universally because the 14th Amendment, let's just keep going. This is the second major argument. He points to historical exceptions. Children of foreign diplomats, children of invading armies, certain tribal members before 1924. He uses these exceptions to argue birthright citizenship is not absolute. Congress and the executive can define who is subject to the jurisdiction. This is a reinterpretation, not a new law. Okay, so they're saying that Trump is reinterpreting, okay, and he doesn't have the authority to reinterpretate because that's the job of the 9 Supreme Court justices. So they're saying that his argument, whole argument, number 1 and number 2 that we read, are reinterpretations of what the 14th Amendment actually means. That's what they're saying at this point. So this is why it's before the Supreme Court justices so that they can interpret it, all right? And here's the funny thing. What if their interpretations, the 9 Supreme Court justices' interpretation comes out exactly the way what Trump is explaining? Because there's an issue. That's a real issue. And number 3, Trump argues that undocumented and temporary visa mothers are not fully under U.S. jurisdiction. This is the most controversial part. He claims, this is what Trump is saying, undocumented immigrants owe allegiance to another country. Temporary visitors owe allegiance to another country. This is true. Therefore, their United States born children are not automatically citizens. This is a departure from 125 plus years of Supreme Court precedent, especially in Wong Kim Ark. That case, I remember reading that because I read that. But I mean, when you read this, okay, as it pertains, this executive order, as it's pertaining to the 14th Amendment, Trump is saying that his argument is that undocumented and temporary visa mothers are not fully under U.S. jurisdiction. Are they? From what I see, no, they're not. This is the most controversial part, he claims. Undocumented immigrants owe allegiance to another country. They do. If you're an undocumented immigrant, you do owe allegiance to another country. You really do. You owe allegiance to the country you ran from. Temporary visitors owe allegiance to another country. That's right. Therefore, their U.S.-born children are not automatically citizens. This is a departure from 125 plus years of Supreme Court precedent, especially Wong Kim Ark. Number 4, he's got a lot of great arguments and a lot of great points. Number 4, Trump uses Title 8 of the United States Code, Section 1401, to support his interpretation. Why he interprets it the way he does. And this is what he's using to support his interpretation. He cites the federal statute that mirrors the 14th Amendment. He argues that Congress already recognized exceptions and that his order simply clarifies them. But historically, Section 1401 has always been interpreted to include children of undocumented immigrants, children of visa holders, children of long-term residents. His order attempts to reverse that. This is what they're saying. Number 5, Trump defines mother and father strictly as biological parents. This is unusual and intentional. He wants to tie citizenship to the mother's immigration status, the father's immigration status. This is a new requirement that has never existed in U.S. law. So that's what they're saying, okay? Because if the child's born here, all right, the parents are undocumented immigrants, Trump is saying, if you're undocumented, your baby is too. But the argument is because the baby was born on the soil. So now it's a citizen. But Trump's saying, nah, the mother's immigration status and the father's immigration status. Number 6, Trump's reasoning is built on a narrow reading of jurisdiction. His logic, this is what they're saying out there. Jurisdiction equals full political allegiance. Undocumented or temporary immigrants do not have full allegiance. Therefore, their children do not qualify for birthright citizenship. But the Supreme Court has historically held jurisdiction equals subject to U.S. laws, which include undocumented immigrants, visa holders, tourists, students, workers. This is why courts immediately blocked the order. So this is why the courts blocked it. Number 7, Trump frames the order as protecting the meaning and value of citizenship. This is political framing, not legal doctrine. This is what they're saying. He argues birthright citizenship is being abused. The U.S. must protect citizenship from misinterpretation. The executive has authority to clarify constitutional meaning. This is the rhetorical justification, not the legal one. Okay? Okay, so why courts say his reasoning is flawed. All right? They're saying that why courts say his reasoning is flawed. Federal judges blocking the order have pointed out the Supreme Court already decided this in Wong Kim Ark in 1898. Children born in the United States are citizens regardless of parent status unless the parents are foreign diplomats, enemy occupiers. Okay. This is really going to be interesting. Undocumented immigrants are subject to the jurisdiction. They can be arrested, prosecuted, deported, taxed, and sued. That means they are under United States law. because these things can be done to them. They can be arrested, they can be prosecuted, they can be deported, they can be taxed, and they can be sued. These are things that can happen to undocumented immigrants. So if those things can happen to them, they are subject to jurisdiction. So what are your thoughts on this? This is like really wild. Hey, Lady Moon. Hey, Kai. Hey, y'all. The executive cannot override the Constitution. Only Congress via amendment or the Supreme Court via reinterpretation can change constitutional meaning. So that's true. The Supreme Court justices are the ones who can reinterpret, and the Congress can change it by amendment. That's how the Constitution can be affected with this change. So in their eyes, Trump is trying to change it on an executive order. They're basically telling me you don't have the power to do that. You can't go around interpreting laws, constitutional laws. That's for Congress, and by way of putting amendments in there, and the Supreme Court, which are the 9 justices. All right. Now, his executive order argues subject to the jurisdiction excludes certain U.S. born children. The 14th Amendment does not guarantee universal birthright citizenship. The executive can define who qualifies. Okay. Because they literally can define who qualifies. Undocumented and temporary visa parents do not confer citizenship. So courts disagree. Now, those are Trump's 4 bullet arguments. These are the 4 bullets I just read is Trump's reasoning, reinterpretation, and not a reinstatement of existing law. So the courts disagree with him and says Supreme Court precedent says otherwise. The Constitution overrides executive interpretation. The order contradicts 125 years of settled law. This is why the Supreme Court is now reviewing the issue. Strongest legal arguments for Trump's interpretation. Now, these are Trump's strongest arguments. A, subject to the jurisdiction thereof means full political allegiance. Supporters argue that the 14th Amendment requires complete jurisdiction, not just being physically present. They rely on the slaughterhouse cases from 1873 and Elk versus Wilkins in 1884. Both cases suggest that jurisdiction means full and complete political obedience, not mere presence. Okay? And his next strongest argument, Congress has authority to define citizenship under Title 8 United States Code 1401. They argue Congress already defined who is subject to the jurisdiction. The executive can interpret ambiguous statutory language. Birthright citizenship is not explicitly universal in the Constitution. And C, historical exceptions show how birthright citizenship is not absolute. Examples: children of foreign diplomats, children of enemy occupiers, certain tribal members before 1924. They argue that undocumented immigrants are closer to these categories because they owe allegiance to another sovereign. D, the 14th Amendment was written before mass illegal immigration existed. Supporters claim the framers did not contemplate modern immigration patterns. The amendment should be interpreted in today's context. This is a textual plus originalist argument. So that's very interesting. Number two, Wong Kim Ark controls, and it is binding. All right, these are arguments against the strongest legal arguments against Trump's interpretation. Wong Kim Ark in 1898 controls, and it is binding Supreme Court precedent. This is what the federal judges that blocked it are saying. The court held anyone born in the U.S. is a citizen, except children of diplomats or enemy occupiers. Parental immigration status does not matter. This is the single strongest argument. Number two, B, subject to the jurisdiction means subject to U.S. law, not political allegiance. Undocumented immigrants can be arrested, can be prosecuted, can be deported, must pay taxes, must follow U.S. law. Therefore, they are subject to U.S. jurisdiction. This is what the federal courts are saying. So this is going to be a wild decision that the Supreme Court justices have to make because they both sides have great arguments. C, the executive cannot reinterpret the Constitution. Only Congress or the Supreme Court can change constitutional meaning. And that's true. An executive order cannot override the 14th Amendment, and it can't. So this is going to be so interesting. D, every administration, Republican and Democrat, has recognized U.S. born children of undocumented immigrants are citizens. Courts treat long-standing practice as persuasive constitutional evidence. E, equal protection concerns. Creating two classes of U.S. born children based on parental status raises equal protection issues, due process issues, administrative law issues. How the Supreme Court is likely to rule. The court will start with Wong Kim Ark. This is binding precedent. To uphold Trump's order, the court would need to distinguish it or overturn it. Overturning 125-year-old citizenship precedent is legally significant. B, the court will examine the meaning of the jurisdiction. Two competing definitions: full allegiance, Trump's view; subject to U.S. law, traditional view. The court has to choose one. The court will consider separation of powers. Key question: can the executive redefine constitutional citizenship without Congress? This is a major constitutional issue. That's a question. Can the executive, meaning the president, because he's the executive, can he redefine constitutional citizenship without Congress? And if he does it, my question is, does that conflict with the U.S. Constitution if he redefines it? So does Trump's current view, does his current executive order conflict with the United States Constitution as it pertains to 14th Amendment? That's going to be very interesting. I can't even call how this is going to go. Now, D, the court will consider practical consequences. Millions of people could become stateless or undocumented, y'all. Listen to this. The court will consider practical consequences. They're going to look at the consequences, because if they go with Trump's, millions of people could become stateless or undocumented. Now, listen, y'all. Hold up. Hold up for a minute now. Hold up. Let me stop this for a minute. Let me remove this for a minute. Now, y'all see where it says millions can become stateless or undocumented. Now, when I heard that, y'all, hey, power, when it's saying when the Supreme Court reads that, millions can become stateless and undocumented. Now, the millions that could become stateless, listen to me. I first thought, oh my God, that could be those. Could it be during 1830? Remember when Andrew Jackson told the Indians Forced Removal Act to Oklahoma, and all the millions of Indians that stayed and said, no, we're not going to Oklahoma. And then he said, well, since you don't go to Oklahoma, you will become citizens of your state of residence. So that right there totally covers us, because that executive order that was in Congress. He addressed Congress. I don't know. You will become citizens of the state of your residence. Could they? Because the only way you become stateless, you have to be some type of citizen. That's the same as if I were to go to another country and denounce my citizenship. All right. And then I'm stateless. Oh, I'm stateless because another country has to accept me. And if I denounce my citizenship, I would never do that. But that's what happens with a person who was a citizen. That's why you can't. This is why I always argue with them brothers that said that they denounced their citizenship. No, if you denounce your citizenship and you become stateless, you can't, for the way that the United States have it set up. In order for you to denounce your citizenship, if you're a United States citizen, you have to go to another country, to their consulate, denounce your citizenship here, and they have to accept you. Because once you denounce, you can't come back. A country has to literally accept you, and you're gone for good. It ain't no coming back. That's why the United States has it set up that way. If you're a United States citizen and you denounce your citizenship, you have to do that in another country, and that country has to accept you. If they don't accept your ass, you are finished. So this is what I mean when I tell you I stop listening to these dudes telling y'all that you can denounce your citizenship in the United States. You can't do it here. You got to go to another country and do it when you're going to denounce your citizenship. So let's get back to this. This is very interesting. And this is saying, I pulled this information up. These are not my words. So they're saying the Supreme Court justices under item D, one of the things that the Supreme Court justices have to view, they have to consider the consequences, the practical consequences. If they take it, and rule the way Trump has it, millions of people could become stateless or undocumented. So you know what happens when these millions of the only ones that's going to become stateless are these immigrants who had these babies here, only are here because their babies were born here. They will become stateless. You know what happens when you become stateless? ICE, you know how many ICE agents Trump is hiring on a daily basis? Because that's who's going to move them off our land, get them out of here. That would be a whole checkmate. Oh my God. So it's saying Again, millions of people would become stateless or undocumented. Courts often consider administrative chaos, that would be administrative chaos, retroactivity, meaning how many years back will Trump go if they rule in his favor. He probably, knowing Trump, because he is on a rampage right now. He is not playing. So retroactive for Trump could be the entire, all the way back to when Obama was president. Yeah, I know the way Trump is handling things now, and you make him you piss him off. Listen, if he makes it retroactive and he go all the way back to the Obama administration, that would be a hot mess. So the court's ideological composition matters, but legal precedent is still the anchor. The court may be open to narrowing birthright citizenship, but overturning Wong Kim Ark is a major doctrinal shift. So I don't know how this is going to go. I can't even say. I'm not a justice. I'm just reading what's out there so everybody can understand how this interacts with our research on the meaning of who is an American. An American was never defined by statute. The U.S. has never passed a law defining who is an American, what American means as a national identity. They just never did. Instead, the meaning has shifted through political power, court decisions, administrative practice. Trump's order is another attempt to redefine American through executive power, not statute. B, citizenship definitions have always been political tools historically. Indigenous people were excluded. Black Americans were excluded. Asians were excluded. Mixed race people were reclassified. Our research shows that American has always been shaped by who holds power, who writes the rules, and who controls classification. And so they're saying Trump's order fits this pattern. C, the fight over birthright citizenship is a fight over national identity. Our work on racial reclassification, indigenous erasure, political definitions of belonging directly parallels the current legal battle. D, the Supreme Court's decision will redefine American for the next century. Whether they reaffirm Wong Kim Ark or reinterpret jurisdiction, the ruling will shape national identity, immigration policy, racial classification, and constitutional meaning. Our research is not just historical, it is timely. When Dred Scott versus Sandford was argued, Dred Scott versus Sandford was argued twice. First on February 11th through the 14th, 1856, and then re-argued on December 15th through the 18th, 1856. Argument dates exact. These are the exact argument dates down here. And then the decision was issued on March 6, 1857. So that is where I'm going to stop because it was long. That's going to be the March 2026 newspaper. So February newspaper is already done. That will be the March 2026 newspaper that will be uploaded on our website. But I didn't upload February yet because I like to upload the newspaper on the first day of the month because people literally wait for our newspaper and they really expect it on the first. They love to read it and have their coffee with it. So I'm in advance this time. Last year was horrible for me for the newspaper. I did not do one newspaper. I was so engulfed, but this year is going to be different, and I will not miss a newspaper. And I apologize to everyone that was looking forward to our newspaper last year, but a lot of things were going on and I had to take a step back. So I'm, getting my groove back. And I promise you those newspapers will be out before the 5th day of every month, like we have been doing in the past. So that's that. So I felt this was very interesting. Hey everybody. And I would really, really like to know how the justices are going to rule. I mean, as far as the chaos that will come, millions of people will become stateless. But see, the very different thing about us Indians that stayed and were automatically subject to the jurisdiction of the states that we were living in, this doesn't apply to us at all. Because if we became it wouldn't apply to us, because they actually passed a law, a treaty, and those that went to Oklahoma and were on a reservation, they were the ones that are identified and recognized by the federal government. We that stayed, and because it was their system and we refused to go to Oklahoma, we stayed on our farmlands. What happened is we got assimilated by force, not beat up force, but there was a civil war, but we became reclassified citizens, and they, being in their government system, because it was imposed on us whether we wanted to go to Oklahoma or not. So whatever state our family farms were in, we became subjects of that state, and we were subjected to their laws. So a lot of and don't sleep this, a lot of our families were okay with being part of the United States system, because a lot of our families understood the things that they could do within the system and the protections they had. Now, it took a very long time to get equal protection, because that was what the civil rights movements and things were all about. But a lot of our families, they fought on both sides. They during the Revolutionary War, the North against the South, and a lot of our families were in the South, and a lot of our families were in the North, and they warred. And the interesting thing is, as it pertains to us, our families, when we look at the war records, they fought on both sides. Some of our family were Union soldiers, and some of them were Confederate soldiers, literally in the South. So my family fought on both sides. Some of my family fought as Confederate. They wanted shit to stay the same. They was not, and then the North. Now, yeah, this true be true. So it's interesting. I just find it very interesting, and I want to see how this is going to go. I don't think that the Supreme Court justices will allow that type of chaos, but what if they do, y'all? And what if they do have to and have no choice, because they reevaluate it after all these years, and they go with what Trump says, that this didn't apply to modern day of what's going on modern day. And they said, well, you know what? We can't mess the law up. It's our job to withhold the Constitution. And the framers intend for something like this to be happening in the future? Because back then it applied to a lot of colonizers getting their families here. Okay, and so this is really, really going to be so interesting, and I can't wait for the outcome. I don't know how long they're going to take to make this decision, but the Supreme Court justices did indeed accept that case, and I'd be very interested on how they're going to rule, especially when Trump says that the framers didn't intend for it to answer what's going on today. So I'm not going to stay on long. I'm trying to get this to being just an hour when I go live. I went over 20 minutes. What I will do, because I don't know who's going to go live next, maybe Smoke. It's 8:22, more than likely to be Smoke. But I will leave the window open for anybody that wants to come on the panel and give their input on what they think about this whole thing. Because when the Supreme, that when the Supreme Court does rule, it's going to be the first ruling that where there will be federal law that states who is an American. So if us being citizens, that's gonna, because right now it's, American being in a determination was all through political power. It was never a federal law. So now this will be the first time the Supreme Court justices are going to put the stamp on it. Who's an American? I already know I'm an American. And when he does that, I'm going to be so proud. I'm going to be waving my flag because I know they're going to fix that. So when you look at people here, if you're all the citizens are going to be Americans. And so when you look at anybody, that's your American brother and sister. And I'm going to feel real good about that because you know why? It's diverse. It's multicultural. It's going to have it's going to have a real federal meaning now. So when I look at somebody, I don't give a damn what their race is. They're a U.S. citizen. They're American. We're Americans. So that would be my American brother, whether he's Chinese, whether he's no matter what his damn race is. If he's from India, if he's Jewish, if he's Italian, if he's this, it does not matter. If they're U.S. citizens, they become our American brothers and sisters. And I'm like that. Oh, what are your thoughts? Let me put the link in the chat, and I'll give you a few minutes to get up here, and I'll play a little music. I'm going to be proud of that. Happy. So let me put this in the chat and pin it. I'm not sure if anybody will come up, but that's how it's going to go down. Facts. There's the link. I'll play a little music till you guys get up. I'll give you about 5 minutes. If you don't come up in 5 minutes, I'm going to end the show and say I love you guys to the moon and back. So let's get it, y'all. Up if you coming. Nah, I'm out of here. 5 minutes. Really you? Absolutely. Is that really you? Absolutely. Your mic is muted if you're talking. Absolutely. Your mic is muted.
Good day, Sister Bethy. How's it going? Happy
Oh, good.
Friday.
That's
Bang,
really
bang.
you. I wanted to make sure it was really you.
Not too sure if you can hear me out there.
Can you hear me? All right.
I did want to talk
Can
about
you hear
who.
me now? Absolutely.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure it was you. That's my granny up there, my Indian granny. May she rest in peace.
Man. Yeah. Rest in power.
So now you know where I get that cigarette from. All Indians smoke cigarettes.
It wasn't even called a cigarette back then. Remember that. That's the word they gave us. But you know what we were smoking. Yeah. It was cigar. It was a cigar back then. Whatever, but it wasn't a cigarette. Uh, The original tobacco that was
Oh,
healthy for you.
yeah. That's right. Because they used to roll them up.
Yeah. Even going back to Jamestown, they would definitely had big tobacco fields out there. That's the home of most of the tobacco here in America, I think.
Mm. Yeah, they got a lot of
Powhatan.
tobacco here in Connecticut because Martin Luther King came here in Glastonbury and he worked in the tobacco field, but he liked it. He enjoyed himself here. And he
Man.
said that the people here were so warm, and they really are, to be
Sis-
perfectly honest.
Sister Bethy, I think we're peaceful people. I'm not gonna lie to you. What
Yeah.
uproar is us? I don't even think we were warring against each other. Remember, we had ball games and things of that nature. We had Olympics here prior to those guys, is what they tell us about the Olmecs and the Mayans, right?
Mm.
So I think we were more of a peaceful people. I don't think we was out there throwing blows like that. I think we had a few skirmishes, but I think we were able to settle it. I really don't think we were that fighting people they put on us.
Well, I don't know. Absolutely, I think we were. I think, to be perfectly honest, the way our sons war against each other today, I think it's the same. We always, yeah, and even in the 70s, we did exactly what needed. A fight broke out. Everybody's looking around in a circle. And we always did. We always had wars against each other
Not
because
not not to go on what we're talking about today in modern times, how they've shaped our minds and insight through propaganda. So of course, yeah, today we're fighting against each other,
so
but to
I
stay
mean, so
during those
you don't
times.
think that there were Indian wars?
And if they were, it was always a foreigner involved. When they was talking about Indian wars, it was always a foreigner involved on the other side as a liaison to start the fight.
But what about the wars before they even came here that they
Now
speak about?
that is something we would have to have proof of, but we only have proof of their history of when they came here. And if they are writing about the people prior to that, we definitely got to examine what they're talking about when they're talking about pre-Columbian or pre-Columbus.
Okay, well, what about like the Yamasee Wars in South Carolina?
They were fighting against who? Or was the Spanish Empire already there?
In South Carolina?
Were the Yamasee fighting against other Indian tribes, or were they fighting against like the
Yeah,
British?
they were fighting against other Indian tribes too, but they did fight against British when the British came. That is true.
And Spain was already down there in Florida, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
we got another foreign faction already pre-involved in Florida.
Oh, okay. Well,
So that would be the Spanish Empire, which would have some type of tie to the Yamasee, the reason why they would be trying to get into South Carolina, right?
correct. But I wasn't so I'm not so sure that the Spain was trying to get in South Carolina because
Yeah, they
they
were.
were, uh, well, okay, they weren't successful though.
Right, they were not successful, of course. But you had the
Right.
West Indies all up and down the East Coast. Remember these West Indies are the ones that are saying that they the real they the real Roman Empire down there in these islands and in South America. They the real Britons or Britons, not the Britons, but they're the ones saying they were selling everywhere first also and connected with these Indians on mainland. So again, the West Indies ran all the way up to like I would say probably New York almost, or Virginia at least for sure. The West Indies definitely ran up to Virginia at one point in time.
Well, I know that the countries that the United States is currently doing business with today, they're the same countries that we did business with before they existed. We were already doing businesses with the where the country of Russia or all the other countries, China, we were doing business with these same people prior to colonization expansion.
No, you're absolutely correct. There's even stories of the black nobility here trading with the Saudis before the Saudis switched up on us and started trading with the so-called United States.
Right.
So we were
Because
already trading oil.
Britain loved our furs because it was cold. And here in the north, they made a lot of furs because it's
Oh,
always cold here
absolutely.
in the north. So Britain really liked the furs that our ancestors made. That's how we became so close with Britain because we did
And
a lot
so
of business with them.
And so that's why I go to this American being judged by someone who's not of the American original American
Well,
bread.
th- here's the question I have, or the information I looked up. Our ancestors never came up with the name America or American. That wasn't our ancestors. That was the British colonial folks. They're the ones who came up with the term, the word usage, America. That wasn't a term created by our ancestors. The word American or America is a term that the um British, the they don't like to be called British because they separated themselves from Britain. That was the whole purpose of them calling themselves Americans when they took over the 13 colonies after the Revolutionary War. They specifically wanted to separate themselves from Britain. So they came up with that word America, American, not our ancestors. That is
Yeah.
a term, word uses from them. Our ancestors always were who they were, whether they were Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cherokee, Yamasee, all the Indian tribe names that you know. That's who we identified as. Um, so Trump is within his right to determine who will be an American. Now, when they came here, indeed, they said uh formerly the Aborigines because that's who they said is the American at first when they came here because we were the Indians of land. But they came up with it when they came here. They said, "Oh, Americans." They said that they identified us as that. That's why Noah gave that definition in his 1828 dictionary. So then they decided to change who the American is. And that consisted of us being American Indians and them because they wanted to separate. They no longer wanted to be identified as Britons. They said, we're going to now be Americans. And I understand the logic of that. You're talking about people who were kicked out of Europe and they were told they were the worst of the worst. And then they came here as indentured servants. And then they rose up. They got sick of Britain shit and said, sure, we're going to become Americans. We're separating ourselves. We're no longer Britons. Even though that, yeah, we know that they originally came from those areas, but they had a right to do that when they took over the colonies and then expanded them. So what are your thoughts on that?
No. I like your deep dive into that. Now, I would still say here, okay, they labeled the entire population here as American. And let's say the British did do that. Now, let's say it's almost that same time of the word American coming out, also that they want to revisit it at the same time. You said 1828 definition of American, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that goes along with it almost being what, 2028, almost around the same time the definition actually came out for the first time of those guys now becoming American.
Right.
Now, the Mayans also have a word, Amerisk or Amerisk, to signify their mountains. I think it means how the wind blows or something like that. So this word America, you can also say it like that as well too. Was
Mm-hmm.
already part is as part of the Mayan language.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a
Agreed.
natural word to the American lands. So I would say if they're going to call everybody one thing, it's still a word from the Americas. So we could say the British called us that as a whole when it was only for one tribe of people, of course. Uh, but of course, it's still an American word. So I'll take that
So
they
when
actually called everybody that.
so the Mayans, when you said the Ameris, isn't that Spanish though?
Uh,
Isn't that Spanish?
So the Mayans would have spoken a form of Spanish, correct? If they're so-called
That
being
word was
ruled by
Spanish.
the Spanish.
But okay, so again, if it was used in that terminology, and I'm asking you this question, I'm not telling you, if it was used, Ameris was used as a Mayan language, which is Spanish, aren't Spanish Europeans?
Now that's where the story kind of gets tricky because the Nahuatl language also, before the so-called Spanish supposedly came down there to take over, that language was already there, and it's a form of Spanish as well. Some of the same words, or you can say maybe they loaned some of the words from the Spanish. But a lot of the Arawak language is predominantly Spanish before the Spanish got here as well. They were already talking like this. So you can say they brought
Mhm.
it over here, or were these people already speaking that type of lingo and language already? Again, the
Mm.
Arawak language is predominantly the Spanish language before the
Okay.
Spanish got here as an empire, so to speak.
So, okay. So, all right. The Arawak. Okay, I didn't realize that some of them spoke Spanish language. I thought the Tainos did.
Well, the Taino are speak. Well, it's
They speak
one of the
predominantly
language and one
Spanish.
of the people.
Oh, whoa. Back that up again. Say that again.
So it's called the Arawak language, and the people are the Taino. Or you can
Okay.
call them Arawak, but they're speaking the Arawak language, basically. Or they'll explain it different if they're from there. I'm just giving you, I met some actual Tainos down in the DR, and I went on a tour with those guys, and they were dark skinned like you and I. They just had good hair, and they spoke
Right.
Spanish. But they said they've been
Mhm.
there since time immemorial. They never had a
Right.
Christopher Columbus story. These are original peoples of the DR. They're us. They just speak
I
Spanish.
can I can believe that. Same thing with Cuba. And thinking of that, I mean, of them trying to go to war with us. And did you see that? That was just like hilarious. They still have weapons from like the 1960s. And I'm
Right.
like, that is just like hilarious. And you're trying to go to war with United States because I believe Trump is going to take it over. He's trying to get rid of that dictator, which is interesting. And if he's doing that, that's a good thing because now they can't accuse Trump of being a dictator because he's getting rid of dictators. Trump is
So
a
you
businessman.
talking about
So
Venezuelan guy?
no. Literally with Cuba, they're let me pull it up. Trump is considering taking over Cuba. Let
Well,
me just pull it up.
Trump already has control of all those islands touching within the Americas. Who's ever over there? They're only over there because the United States is allowing it. It's not really hurting any infrastructure. And again, that could be a post for high government people. And they're just keeping it junky around there for a reason. You just never know what the ultimate plan is. But I know
Mhm.
who's ever the president of the United States is always pretty much the president of all the Americas to me. That's my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, everybody has their own army, but if something breaks out on the American soil, our president is going to be the one that's calls the shots.
Facts. Facts.
If anything
Because
is
that's
jumping
how it
off
always
across
been.
seas, yes. If anything is
I
jumping off across seas, Trump will get it into it and be the shot caller. Even with Ukraine, who's shot calling? We are, because we're funding
correct.
both. So, no, who's ever president of the United States is president of the world.
Facts. Because we were always the one to control how the business
Exactly.
is conducted. And for the other countries to try to come around through the back door, that's just
Exactly.
no. Trump said you out of order. No, you can't do that. Coming out the back door to try to buy oil. So that's the whole thing with Cuba too. He's putting blockages up from those countries in South America from selling oil. You want to buy it, we're going to do it the right way that it's been done. You come here and buy it from me.
But a lot of that equipment down there is ours as well. All the equipment in Venezuela is ours. So no, you're not going to sell our oil while using our equipment, not without using a dollar. That means we ain't
Fact,
getting broken off a piece of anything. So if that,
fact.
I mean, but again, I still think that's a hierarchy play. Because this guy, he was also involved with a CIA sting back in the day. The whole Venezuela president with the whole Democrat. They was talking about him helping the Democrats steal votes to try to steal the election way from Trump. So it's a whole nother story with this guy. He was working with the
Yeah.
CIA with the Democrats down in
But they did get rid
Venezuela.
of him, right? Because he's a dictator. Isn't he the one that lost and then he stayed in his job?
Well, he's not a dictator. He's been told what to do by somebody here in the Americas, what I'm saying, because that was our equipment the whole time he's been making money down there. That's been our equipment. So somebody in the
Okay.
Democratic Party has always been making money off Venezuela. That's why he's a big target now, because remember Venezuela before the big reset for those guys, they were living rich. I mean, and
Hmm.
as soon as that oil stopped being so wealthy for them, that's when they started hitting rock bottom and all those people started coming here. That was
Hmm.
like maybe 2012, 2013. But prior to that, it was the richest country in South America
Wow.
because of the oil, because we gave them the equipment to start working with the oil back in the day.
And so this guy wants to come in and do little backyard deals.
Man, this guy, I mean, again, it's the Democrats that were working with that guy. So again, they're still the same bird, but they still be doing crooked things to each other behind closed doors as long as, because they fight different. They just fight different from what we fight.
Hmm.
They won't kill you or anything. They'll make you suffer money wise. They're not, this is something totally different. This is a whole another realm of stick it to these people that don't know what's going on. They fighting amongst each other and not even worrying about us.
Interesting. So what about Cuba?
Cuba already belongs to the Americas. If they go to war, they need our army. Nobody's going to go to war with them.
That's the
What are
same
you?
thing with Canada as well, right?
Right? No, we already own these people. There's nothing new under the sun here. Yeah, no.
Correct.
Again,
Interesting.
that could have been a breeding ground for making sure the cocaine comes through there as well too. Because remember, that guy was also working with the CIA. The Adidas suit wearer. I keep forgetting his name. Fidel Castro.
Yeah.
Yeah, undercover CIA agents. They be putting them in place
Wow.
all over the world.
So what about what are your thoughts on let me see. It was Venezuela, Cuba, and what's the
Nigeria.
other one? Not wait a minute, Nigeria.
Yeah,
So
they
they
hit
blocked
Nigeria
they,
too.
whoa.
That was
Backdoor
that
sales.
was like right before
Blocking
Christmas.
blocking Nigeria from selling oil to China, right?
Yeah, all that, the whole background to all of that. That means that we got hands and feet on everybody. Don't make a move right now unless we tell you to. Or we coming to get you. That's all that's going on here now. America is just making a stance for these new foreigners to know who's the boss. A lot of these kids have gotten the money now and they're running amok. So they just have to make sure everybody stays in place at the same time. So even
So
though
what
it's
do
a
you
big show, you still got to keep people under control running this big show.
what are your thoughts about the Greenland with Trump? I think he backed away from that a little bit, but I was kind of hoping that he would go for it because he said that, well, Russia agreed that they wouldn't, and China try to go up there and establish themselves. So I don't know. I was kind of hoping that
But
Trump
Trump
would take
already
over that
owned, we
area.
already own Greenland through the NATO transatlantic agreement. We already own these people through that agreement. You think that little bitty old place over there in Europe that say they own this place really owns it? No,
Well,
that's
I'm
only
just
on
saying they were
paper.
trying to pull up on there and they'd be too close to us. So, I mean, that's why I was hoping Trump would, just take it over so that nobody could just go there and be there. I mean, of
Um,
course, we have allies out there to say, hey, they pushed up on the turf, but I was really hoping that Trump would indeed, take over that part of the land. I really wish he would reconsider. I don't
I
care
mean,
if the
we
people
already
said that they're not going to make efforts to get there, but I wouldn't believe it. I just was hoping that he would. And I was kind of hoping that Canada would just become a 50, third state. I don't know why they won't, but in another way, I get it. I mean, they have free health care. And
Well, it's because
I
they
don't
have
know.
to keep the Aboriginal head on this landmass. No, they have to say that France own that can France don't own Canada. I don't care who speaks French in Canada. France don't own Canada.
I
What was the last guy, Minister Trudeau? Man, get out of here.
and
Won't
then
bat a
yeah,
mosquito
Putin
on his
too.
arm.
Putin, I think Willie said that he's probably the only one that he was really worried about is Putin with his crap.
Now, Putin, half of Russia only lives on like the eastern side. Well, yeah, western. They only live on the west side of Russia. You can't even live in all of Russia. Putin ain't got no damn power, not unless he gonna freeze the
Well, he got
world with
some.
some
Well, he
magic
was saying and
laser.
bragging about the type of weapons that he got. You know,
He has no
that's
match for the American population. Nobody is a match to the American population. Why do you think he can't even beat Ukraine? And this dude was a comedian. The dude that run Ukraine was a comedian on stage, bucket naked, playing a piano with his telewhacker or something as a comedian. Like, get out of here! You
oh
can't beat
boy.
this comedian. You've been the president for 2,000 years. No, really, no. And Ukraine's about the size of my thumb compared to what Russia is supposed to be. But
Interesting.
you go out there and get all your tanks stuck in the damn snow. So really, dude, really, all your tanks in the snow. So where your people at? They didn't. What? And then you got regular mom and pops out there in Ukraine in regular clothes fighting you Russians. I wish you would come out. You'll come and get your yeah propaganda. You remember when he was riding a bear with no shirt on? That propaganda
Who?
art.
Oh, yeah,
Putin.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But he
I
can't beat
remember
this
those.
comedian that won't even put on a suit in the White House, coming there begging for money
Interesting.
for our tax dollars. Hey man, give me another dollar. I'm gonna tell everybody that this a fake war. I ain't putting on no suit, bitch. Where my money at?
Oh man,
Man, they
that's
putting on a big
interesting.
show.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't believe
Well,
none of it.
I can't wait to this decision. I really look forward. I'm following this, to see how this is going to play out. But this is going to be the first federal law that stipulates and says who an American is. This will be the first time in history. All other times, it's just been through political power or whoever was in power. It was never nothing. It was never a federal law. It's not
Now,
even a
you know,
state
we've
law.
been called Americans, even on our passport. It says we're American. It's only when we're in the United States where you get all these different social categories. But we're American outside the United States mainland. Even on the
Right. But
island, they call us American.
this federal law is gonna really knock it out the box. It's just gonna be that's it, and it's over. Once they rule, that's gonna tell you who an American is.
That's scary to me because we still didn't get to define us as being American first before somebody else took the title in the
Well,
first dictionary.
now it's not gonna be a problem, honey, because when they pass the law, it is what it is. If you're a
It's
citizen, you're an American.
I think they hear us over here yelling at them because why all of a sudden are you trying to figure out what an American is as soon as the Aboriginals start kicking up dust and shit out here in these backwood fields and shit on the internet?
Because truthfully, that's who really was the American in their eyes. I mean, that's who they called us when they came here. So, I mean, I like the fact. I mean, absolutely, you don't like it now. If you just wanted to apply to just how they identified us when they first came here.
Yeah, because
I
that's
mean,
what the Aboriginals are actually fighting for, not for everybody to have that title anymore. It has to belong to the people that it belongs to.
but it only belonged to us verbally.
It does belong to us verbally, but also as far as the land goes as well too. If you're calling someone an American and the land of America belongs to the American, we would be the original ones in that statement before it was applied to the Europeans that came here.
All right, but the form again, I'm gonna see how you see it from this way because I see it differently. The subjects, the indentured servants that came here and took over the colonies, they had no country to go back to. They were kicked out. So now they had to make the colonies their home. So, I mean, being here from that time and not having a country to go back to where they're accepted because they warred with the British. So now they have no country to go to. And them being here that long, you don't think that should be identified as American? They had nowhere else to go. I mean,
Now, I really think they should be
to me, they're
classified.
Americans. They're Americans because
No,
they got
I
kicked
agree with
out. They
that a little
warred.
bit.
They warred with the country that kicked them out, which was their country, kicked them out, and they came here as indentured servants. They had no other country, so they got tired of Britain's crap, and they stood up and said, "We're not sending you taxes anymore. We're not doing this anymore." And that's when their independence. And they should rightfully, to me, be Americans. This is their look how long it's been since 1776, and even before that, they were here. That 1776 is when they gained their independence. But prior to that independence, they were still here a long time. And I think it's fair that they should be Americans. They've been here for so long.
I think they should be United States citizens of America. That entire title is what I'm saying they should be. You're not American. You would be a United States citizen of America. So that's where it would differ. Hey, you can still claim America, but we have to delineate that as well too, because those are really the first foreigners. So, and some of them did come over here by fleeing because they couldn't get things right in their home, right? So, no, you're still the same person you were because,
Well, I think there was.
again, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you up. I'm sorry. Go
Oh no,
ahead.
no, no! It was I was toward the end of that sentence anyway. I pretty much said what I was going to say. Go ahead, Sister Bethy. No, you're good.
But what about absolutely? What about the fact that when they came over as British subjects. They were under Britain's control. They were indentured servants, promised land and this and that, and um they were mistreated. And wh- Britain is saying they were the worst of the worst, but that's just out of the mouth of Britain. What type of people were the Brits? You know, and it's not like when they came here they weren't even identifying themselves, or could they? They were identified as British subjects, and I think that's cruel. All right. So what if some of them were Irish? What if some were they were all English, of course, but I mean to call them British subjects, even they didn't even have an identity. Their identity was changed. You're gonna get them over here on this land and call them British subjects, indentured servants. But what if they're why can't they just be Englishmen?
Now, let me put it to you this way. So, did we come from Africa, Sister Bethy?
No.
Okay, so we're labeled as African American right now. We were prior to that labeled as
No, we're
black.
not labeled as African American because you can't give me an identity when I'm 23 years old. African American came out in 1988. That had nothing to do with me. I
Great.
already
Yeah,
had my
exactly my
identification
point.
on my birth certificate, but that didn't apply to me. Obama pursued that.
So they're
I don't
already
have the
making
same
changes on
ancestry
a
as Obama.
so they're already making changes to our ethnic background title that they're gonna put on us, right? Throughout history is my point. You're explaining my point, right?
But that's only if we select those columns. You're not obligated to select those columns. If it doesn't apply to you and you can't approve it, you shouldn't be selecting it. You can't prove that you're African American. You can't prove that you're a descendant of a slave. So you can't select those things. That's one of the whole reasons why Trump got rid of that African American stuff, because that didn't apply to us. We weren't even supposed to be selecting those boxes.
But
So that's
they put it
our
on
fault.
government
None
documents,
of us,
right?
none of us have birth certificates, social security, or death certificates, or marriage certificates that say African American on them or African at all. So we're not even supposed to be. You're not even supposed to be selecting those boxes.
Okay.
That's a choice. Now, if you want to be called an African American, fine. But if the federal government ever come down and say, "Can you prove this?" You're not going to be able to prove it. You can prove that you are an Indian, but you cannot prove that you are an African, from a descendant of Africa. You can't. We
Which
can
is great,
approve.
but they've been changing our title throughout time, is what I was leading up to. So you're actually still explaining what I'm saying. Great.
Who changed our title?
The government, because it's on paperwork, government documents where you have to check black or African American, right? If you thought you were black or African American for a long time, right? Even in the 90s, it started showing up on government documents where you had to check things dealing with your tax. You check black, right? Or African American, right?
That wasn't on documents, is what I'm trying to tell you. When I was a little girl, African American was never written on any documents.
What was your
Even when
title as
I
a little
came out of
girl?
high school, on my birth certificate, it literally says Negro. On my
Okay, so
mother's
that's
birth
another
certificate, hold
title.
up. My mother's birth certificate, it says colored all the way back. And nobody's named an African, just colored. Colored.
Okay,
So
so
we
we're
corrected it.
explaining the American, right? We're explaining the American with all of these different titles, right? The original
Oh,
American has all these different titles, but the foreigner still
yeah,
gets
but
to
when I was a little
become the
girl,
American
but
by
absolutely.
default.
But absolutely. What era were you born in? How old are you?
I'm 83 baby, so I'm actually 42.
Oh, you're my nieces and I'm age. Okay. When you were little, okay, when you were born, African American was not a selection. My niece is turned 42 today. African American was not a selection when she was born. It, it wasn't.
No, no,
When
you're
I was a
absolutely right.
little
What I'm
girl,
saying is in
when I was a
today's
little girl,
time,
when I was a little girl, there was no selection for African or African American. And I
Yeah,
was a
but
little
you
girl
had
of the
color during
70s.
you had Negro during your age of life. So after in the 90s, it became African American for the ones that didn't really know. That's how you got Pan Africans, of course. So they keep changing our title, is what I'm saying. The original American has to keep having his title change every 25 years per
Yeah,
generation.
reclassification.
Yes.
Reclassification.
So they've already put it into law. That's in law to keep changing our reclassifying us under different titles under this social construct is what I'm saying. But they never did that to the foreigner. But they get to by default become American, and we can't become American, and it's us.
What do you mean? I've always been an American. What do you mean we can't become an American? This that has never been an issue for us. I've always been an American.
So before
We
they give
always
this
have
title to everybody again, I would like for us to just have that title, the
it,
copper color
we
people.
always been Americans. Absolutely. We shake the flags when we were little. Remember 4th of July? We're shaking the American flag. We have always been American. It's just that there was never any federal law to really make this stick because only at the federal level can it apply to the entire land. You know what I mean? We didn't never have federal law. This would be the first time that we'll finally have federal law because right now there's no federal law that identifies an American. And now that this case is with the Supreme Court, with Trump and stuff, now it's going to officially kill it.
See, that's what scares me. Again, this is a
Why?
100-year anniversary of 1828 almost. And so they're about to make this a staple event here of who's an American and still never really shouting out loud the original American, giving us our props for you guys being able to come here and stand on our backs.
Well, I never, to be perfectly honest, I never felt like I was not an American.
Well,
Have
you
you
know
ever
what?
felt? Have you ever felt? Be honest. Now, answer this honestly. Did you ever feel like you were not an American?
I figured out I was an American once I started
No,
traveling.
no. You're going over it. Did you ever feel like you were not an American?
I always felt like no, I just felt like I was from the South. That I never had that thought of an American when I was growing up, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie. They
Oh,
told us
okay.
we were supposed to be black back then. So me growing up, I never thought about the word American. They made
I
sure that you
always
only knew
knew I
your
was an
state.
American.
You knew your state. You from Mississippi. That's where I was from, Mississippi. If that meant America, now I'm starting to think that the Mississippian tribe probably is what this whole land was called, Mississippi, maybe.
Yeah. Um.
Uh, But I would have said
Well,
I'm from Mississippi if anybody
I
had
remember
asked me
being a
growing up.
little girl in the 70s in elementary school, and we pledged allegiance to the flag as little children.
Under the United
So
States of
I
America, though.
right, but we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. We pledge allegiance. So not only we were citizens, we were American. I never felt that I was not American. I never felt like I was of something else. I never felt like I was an African because I knew I wasn't. My grandmother and mom's family told me who I was. So, I mean, I always felt like I was an American.
Yeah, we pledged
And I
an
and I am,
allegiance
and I'm proud to
to
be an American. I'm sorry. Come on,
yeah, but we
absolutely. You
pledged
being
an
tough.
allegiance to the United States, not to the Americas, but to the United States of America. So if it was just to the Americas, it would have been the right pledge. That's why they taught you that when you were younger. So you were pledging allegiance to the United States, the corporation, instead of to your naturalness that takes you straight to America itself without the United States showing me America.
Hmm.
So we're seeing America from the United States eyes until we get to this point where we're at now, and we're finding out the true Aboriginal has always been us now. which would have been the
Well, I
American.
believe that. I mean, I always will be an aborigine to America, but I'm gonna always be American from birth to death. I'm American, and it is what it is.
But you're not a United States of an American. You're just an
I'm a,
American,
I'm an American, and I'm a United States citizen.
which is fine. I'm that as well too. But I'm thinking that if we're gonna have a name change, these people should be called the United States of American, United States citizens of the America.
Well, they
Uh,
already are.
that should be their
They
title. Then they should not just be
anybody
American.
that is a citizen will automatically tell you that they're a United States citizen. But guess what? I'm an American, and it is what it is.
You're
I'm
an
American.
American. That
I'm an
new foreigner
American,
that comes over here is
and I'm
not.
a United States citizen. Well, that's what Trump is trying to fix. He's
Yeah.
trying to put a hammer on that. That's the whole purpose. Like, look, lady, you're undocumented. Your husband's undocumented, and then you drop a baby here. No, it's not going down like that no more. If you're undocumented, so is your baby.
And
But
isn't this about the
that's
14th
the
Amendment
fight
or
that's
something?
before huh?
Is this
Huh?
about the 14th Amendment also or something?
Yeah, that's what Trump is using as his weapon. Now, think back. 14th Amendment applied to a specific group of population of people. So that's what Trump, and he's right. I mean, you can't, how are you going to, I don't know, it's kind of like retroactively putting people who had nothing to do with this country onto that 14th Amendment. That 14th Amendment applied to a specific population of people, and they're trying to apply it to incoming immigrants. So I don't know how this is. This is why I said this case is so interesting, because I want to see how the 9 Supreme Court justices are going to see, because Trump has a very strong argument. Okay, we're talking the 14th Amendment. That applied to a specific population of people at that time. So now you're telling me somebody can come in here from Bamboozle and now apply the 14th Amendment to them? I don't, and Trump's argument is like, look, the framers didn't use this for future modernization time. So this is why I believe he has a very strong argument, and the justices are really going to have to evaluate this. And this is going to be really tough. And like like we were reading, when I was reading along the lines, it was saying, what chaos is it going to cause? What's going to happen if they have to literally rule like that based on arguments? It's going
Now,
to be a
who's fighting
madhouse
against who
because,
in this case? Like
huh?
who's going to court for it? Is Trump going to show up to
Well,
court for this? Who's showing up to court?
well, he probably will. Plus his, his staff, his attorney, all the people in the White House. Come on, who's going to be fighting for this?
It's
It's
not
going to be
us, is
them
what I'm
against.
saying.
It's going to be them against the courts, the federal judges that blocked it, because even the federal judges can't interpret the constitutional issues. So this is why it's before the Supreme Court, because, well, they can interpret it, but only Congress can change it by way of amendments, and the Supreme Court justice can reinterpret it and correct it. And once they say what it is, it is what it is. It applies across the land. So this is why I said it's going to be interesting, and they have a lot on their shoulders with this, because that 14th Amendment doesn't really apply to modern day times, to what we're facing today, with people
But that's
sneaking
what
in the
the
back
amendments
door,
are about, to
back
re-amend an
door,
amendment.
pushing the baby out right over the borderline, and the baby's a U.S. citizen and in the jurisdiction of us. That really needs to be visited. So I really want to see how it's going to turn out. It's going to be interesting.
Very interesting. I agree.
But guess
I
what?
agree.
You're gonna be an official American.
Hey man, look at here.
That is
Like
federal
you
law,
said, we're already
absolutely.
officially Americans. Then we are the
Correct.
original one. We
We've
have to
always
be
been
officially that.
Americans by political power. By political
It-
power.
It's just so funny. This 100-year anniversary of this 1828 definition of American is coming about here. It's just
Yeah, it
whew,
is.
who would have
2026,
thought? Thought.
27, 28. Wow. Yeah, in 2 years it would be. But
And
that
now they're
was
fighting. They're saying who an American is again. Just making sure you motherfuckers know. Excuse my French. You know who's an American going into the next 100 years. That's all they're doing.
I already know I'm an American and I'm proud to be American. Ain't you proud to be an American? Absolutely.
You damn Skippy peanut butter. Wouldn't change it for the world.
That's right. So tomorrow I went live today finally because at BAP changed the debate. It's going to be tomorrow, and I believe he's charging for it. I didn't get to watch the segment, but that's going to be an interesting debate with Root Word and who was he debating again? Oh God,
Uh, I
Root
can't even
Word.
remember what they were debating.
Oh, OTK.
Oh yeah. OTK and Root Word are set to debate. I wish both of
That's
those
going to be
fellas
a
well.
really great debate because both brothers are intelligent. I think OTK and Cosmon are really educated. I really love their arguments, but I love Root Words too. Root Word.
I'm gonna be honest with
Super
you,
interesting.
Sister Bethy. I'd like to see our community growing like this, with this type of intellect rolling around, and we just normal
They
people,
want,
but the mindsets are great. I love it.
yeah, they are. I like the great dialogue that we have without arguing, like this conversation with you, because I always love to hear people from our communities standpoint on different political aspects of things, and you raise really great arguments. You really do, and I enjoy watching in the evening to help me go to sleep. But oftentimes I don't go on panels. I'm trying to just be on my own panel now, but still being strongly listening to like the lives, like with Smoke's live. I won't normally go on a panel anymore. I like to just watch it, just be funny. And some
Yeah, I love
topics are
watching it
very
as well.
interesting. Yeah, but I like when you go on the panel. It's very helpful. You
Man, I
give them
love this
something to
right here,
think
man.
about. You give them something to think about. So when you go on Smoke's panel, you, Anton, really know how to get to
Oh yeah, man, I'll be so in and out though. I
and
can't even
Cosmon and
commit
OTK.
myself.
I love when OTK go on the panel. OTK and Cosmon. And I can't wait till they have their debate. They're doing like a dual debate with
I gotta
somebody
say
else.
though,
I forgot
also
who it is.
Super be holding it down, man. He's troll of
Yeah,
trolls, but I love the
he's the
way he
king
holds
of
it down,
trolls.
man.
Yeah, but that's why I always say he started with Smoke. That's why without Superman, there's no Smoke. They both have to be on a panel. I just hate when Smoke jumps off and leave because everybody be waiting for him.
Yeah, but when Smoke jumps back in, he likes to make sure that the argument is awesome as well too. He want people to be able to get it out without him like trying to run a show. So he be in the background, definitely listen. He don't
But
be
he
in
need to
left the
stay his
phone.
ass on the panel because that's who the audience be wanting Smoke because he brings the smoke.
But you know what? Sometimes,
I mean,
Sister
but
Bethy,
Superman holds it down, but I like to see him because it gets he'll step in and say, "All right, damn it, da 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 da." Then he comes in. He's like the
he
modern
like a
day Perry
shotgun.
Mason,
He like a
right?
shotgun. You can only put
Yeah,
2 bullets in it, but when he shoot them bitches, you better watch out.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I
He
love
brings the
about Smoke,
smoke.
man. He comes out the dark of night. He's gonna give you some light, I'm sure.
Now, don't leave out the other smoke. Straight smoke is good too.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, ain't no bad thinkers over here because right now we're
Right.
figuring things out. And just to be in this bucket right now, trying to sort through all this knowledge that they put out here, for us to go back and say, no, that can't be right as a collective, that's enough
Right.
for me to say, hey, man, whatever your opinions are, I'm listening.
Facts. Facts.
Yeah, can't forget about Bap and Chief Holiday, all and you, of course, Top Cats and the crew over there, man. Like, hey, look at here, people are hearing this. Dane Calloway, people are hearing this. All these other
Yes.
channels that are now being created, and not to talk about the young lady that got ran off YouTube because she felt like it was time for her to speak her truth, and you know, I just think that was kind of sad as well too. No, like you
What
say, no
lady that
matter
got
the
ran
color.
off of YouTube?
The lady that likes to talk about genealogy and her family from Louisiana, the Creole, but she's Italian, more so Italian looking, but she found her black close relatives, but they got the same grandma
No,
and
I
they're
didn't
black
see that
kids.
one.
Yeah,
I
but
didn't see that one.
she's very pretty. Like you said though, some people should be called American too. But again though, just like we've had all these titles, like I feel
Right.
that way about her. She's earned a little bit of a title to say that hey, she is an American. She has that
Right.
American blood running through her.
That's
I
right.
think her grandma
American.
passed as a Creole, which became
Mm-hmm.
white on paper.
Mm-hmm.
But she was her dad or some the grandma's dad was black or but they were Creole. It's just that Louisiana thing she had going. But somewhere in the line, an Italian came in and turned the whole family a whole different race.
Mm. Well, that's what they was doing. That's the political part that I was teaching about. Everything is not a federal law. Everything is like political power. But until the Supreme Court justice come in and nip the shit in the butt, or however say it, nip the shit, it is over.
Right,
It's over.
right. It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to the outcome now, and I'm
Me
pretty sure we're
too.
going to be heard more now because we're saying we're
Yeah,
American, the original.
I want to know. It's just long as it's finally set in stone, it'll be over. And I think that'll be the happiest day because now it's federal law. It's no longer political power or, by an
A social
individual state.
construct.
Correct. It'll just be
You won't be
poof,
black
that's it.
anymore or white. You're an American, right?
There you go.
Let's
There
see
it
how that works. I don't know if the supremacy
is.
gonna be down for that, Sister Bethy. No, we ain't
Well,
the same. Somebody's gonna say, no, we ain't the same.
we'll see. I don't know. I don't think that'll be the issue. But I'm already an American, and when they put it when it's federal, because I'm a United States citizen, and they're going to apply the title, that becomes a solid written ethnicity for us, an American. It become a United States citizen will now have a federally recognized ethnicity.
Yeah,
Right
we're
now,
American by
I say
blood.
it.
They're American on paper now, basically.
So I'm gonna be proud. I just wanted the decision to come out.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good anyway to put this word American on the front page. Either way it goes, any publicity right now is great publicity. The word of mouth is the best way to get it out there anyway. Best
Fact,
promotion.
facts. So we'll see how it's gonna go. I'm looking forward to it. I think I'll celebrate that day. And I don't drink at all, but I think that'll be
Wow.
a day. But yeah, once in the blue moon, I'll have like, those little uh promotional
Those
size
shots.
wines.
Yeah,
No, not
yeah.
liquor, alcohol, but like wine. Like
Yeah, I know
there
exactly what you're saying though. They
I'll
come in
drink one of those and dilute it with so much water because I like to be in my sober mind. I've never been drunk before. And
red or white.
I
You go
never
with the red or
taste
white.
alcohol. I like the red sweet wine.
Okay, game time, game time. Likewise, likewise.
So I'll celebrate one of those and saying I'm an American. Ugh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's gonna be great now. We could what we could do is start promoting Xing out the word black then because that's what it's supposed to do, right? If we're now gonna be
That'll be
classified
our
as American.
ethnicity. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll be our
absolutely.
ethnicity.
Our
I
nationality on
already
paper.
am an American, so it's always been an ethnicity, my nationality. American has always been my nationality.
Yeah, I
So,
thought that with my passport. So when I saw it on there for the first time as a young adult, that's when I knew I was an American, honestly.
mm. Well,
Yeah,
Skylick, I don't drink because of the harm that I saw it do to my family. My grandmother on my dad's side was an alcoholic. She's from Florida, old Seminole. It's in May. She died of cirrhosis of the liver. Because she drank a lot. So I don't drink alcohol now. That's why. And it was traumatizing for me. And I just don't like to see people not sober. That's all. But anyway, absolutely. I'm gonna get off and let Smoke go live because I know he's getting ready to go live. It's Friday. But is there
absolutely.
anything you want to send out to anybody before we go?
Yeah, to everybody, be great. It's required. Bang, bang.
Facts. I'm hoping OTK and Cosmon come on Smoke Panel. I like when they come on Smoke Panel. It'd be funny.
I
So
love
we'll
it.
see.
Yeah, we need that relief. That relief just makes you laugh every now and then. Something you ain't done all day. This is the right spot to get it at the same time, be educated.
Yeah. And if they don't come up, which I think OTK probably will, but at least we still got you, Aton, the usuals.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna be
Come on,
snowed in.
man.
Some of us gonna be snowed in. We're gonna be
I
online this
know
weekend.
they're saying that we're gonna get a bad one. I'm gonna go out tomorrow and grab some items. Because they're saying Sunday and Monday is gonna be so bad, and I don't drive in that kind of weather at all. I stay parked. So I'm gonna get up very early in the morning and get what I can out the grocery store if I need anything. But we're okay with what we have here so far. But
Yeah.
I will not come out my house. I'm
YouTube gonna be
scary as
jumping
I won't
those
come
days,
out.
trust me.
What state you in?
I'm in Georgia right now. I'm in
Oh,
Atlanta.
so you guys are expecting a blizzard too?
Well, you know what? You never know out here in Atlanta. I'm in the mountains area out here, a little up north, but you just never know. Like it's so. Let's just say you don't know what to expect. Just expect something to happen.
Yeah, my family's in Georgia right now, Atlanta.
Yeah,
They've been
yeah,
out
yeah,
there
yeah.
for
So,
years. My ancestors are from Georgia, Wilkes.
oh wow.
Yep, they are literally from there. Mhm.
Yeah.
Georgia,
Oh,
and that's on my grandfather, my grandmother's great grandfather. They're all from Georgia. Her
yeah, man.
mother's side is all South Carolina. My family, that's the only state my family from on my grandmother's side. All of us came from out of South Carolina, but not in the areas like where the colonizers took, like what is it, Charleston? We were way far away from there. We were like 5 miles away. We're in Abbeville, and that's
Yeah.
straight up Indian territory, Abbeville, South Carolina. You can look that
Well,
up.
I mean, back
Show
in the
you what.
day before they gave us these county lines, if you look at how close Wilkes is to South Carolina, it could have been in South Carolina, but when you draw Georgia as a state and South Carolina as a state, then you got borders. But those were the same people.
I didn't even know it was that close. It's like a 4-hour drive, right?
Right. If that, it depends on
Wow.
how close you
I didn't
live
even
to the
know that.
border of South Carolina within that county. And some parts of that county is even closer. Some of it is almost touching it.
Wow.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. We just never know because of these boundary lines. You put a state to that separation, but shoot, if the drive ain't that far, are you really separated?
Facts. My thing is, it's the same land if it's all connected.
No, absolutely. That's why I say it's the state lines that make us feel like we're separated by states, but by state of mind, you are separated.
Mm, facts. Well, anyway, you guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna get myself ready to watch Smoke Channel. You know he gonna be on. If not, Cheap Holiday and Cuddy might go live. Somebody going live. I'm gonna watch him, but I'm tired. I
All right,
enjoyed
Sister
today.
Bethy.
I thought it was interesting to learn about the American whole thing, and I just thought I put that out there so folks would know, like, listen out for this case because it's coming. So I truly love you guys. I hope, you know, to see you again when I go on my next live. I'm not going to tell you what the title going to be until the day. But I love you guys. I'm going to Smoke Channel whenever his butt go live. Good night.